This flavor is really good, even though I don't usually like coconut flavored things in drinks. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the part 2 of my solar book tag. If you don't know, this is a really fun idea I saw over on Instagram, where all the planets in the solar system, also including the sun and the moon, each stand for different bookish prompts, and then I have to choose a book and recommend it to you guys. I thought this was a really fun idea. You don't need to watch part 1 because they're completely random book recommendations, but I recommended a lot of my favorite books over in that video. Before I start, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we are going to get right into this with the Mars prompt, which is for a book with otherworldly or sci-fi creatures. And the book that I chose for this is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. The Hunger Games depicts a world, Panem, in which there are 12 districts and the capital, and as punishment for rebelling against the capital, all 12 districts need to send a girl and a boy every year into an arena to fight to the death until one lone victor remains. So The Hunger Games follows a girl from District 12 who is awaking on the reaping for the 74th Hunger Games. I'm getting excited just describing it, but The Hunger Games is an incredible trilogy. I'm actually saving up a reread and rewatch, including Sunrise on the Reaping, until I'm at uni. So The Hunger Games, of course, has otherworldly or sci-fi creatures. I didn't know what to pick for this because I don't really have a lot of sci-fi novels, but technically The Hunger Games does have some futuristic or robotic creatures, namely the Mutts, which are in all 3 books. It is an incredible series. The movies are just as good, and that is one of the only series that I can say that the movies are just as good as the books. The movies are better in certain aspects. Visually seeing the games is very intense, but the actual books have so many more details and we get to see Katniss's thoughts. I would definitely recommend. Please don't spoil Sunrise on the Reaping in the comments. Next prompt is Jupiter for a favorite book with more than 500 pages. You guys know what I'm gonna pick if you've watched my videos before. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This fat book is my favorite classic. It is not just about Anna Karenina. We actually follow 2 main plot lines, one of Anna Karenina, who's a married woman who begins an affair with a younger man and then eventually runs off with him. And the second storyline is for Kitty, who is falling in love with, let me not spoil, she wants to find love. We get a lot of different perspectives. It's not just them two. Actually, mainly in the Kitty storyline, we get the male perspective. This is an incredible book. It is not just a city book about an affair or about love. There's so much in this. It tells you so much about society, about Russia at the time, and it is absolutely a favorite. As you can see, I have tabbed it a lot. I've highlighted it. I still think about how I managed to read this and highlight and underline and tab the whole way through. I'm very proud of myself. It is a wonderful book that I would definitely recommend. This was actually maybe the 2nd or 3rd classic that I ever read. Definitely it's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy to read. There are some scenes that stretch on and on. Levin gardening and farming, but at the end it's all worth it because I truly felt like I was part of this world. This is also one of my sister's favorite novels. She read it before me, and she read it across a very long time as she was going also through different eras of her life. She read it in like 3 different countries, and by the time she finished, she also felt the same way, that she was just in this world and she was part of these characters and the society. There's so much to analyze. There are some stunning quotes, and so much because there are so many perspectives. It starts with a perspective that we don't really get throughout the novel a lot. I think we only get his perspective again 1 or 2 more times, and that happens a lot throughout. I actually want to apply that to my own book, particularly in the first act of my book. I want to shift perspectives quite a bit. I'm trying to figure out how to do that without it being confusing for the reader, because I feel like classics, you kind of expect that, but when it comes to newer novels, people might be hesitant to read a book with a lot of perspectives. But this is a stunning book. I would definitely recommend. In my previous videos, like my 2024 classic ranking, I talk about this in more detail. This book is 800 pages. The next prompt is a book you picked up solely because of a gorgeous cover, and the book I chose for that is Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This was the first Gabriel Garcia Marquez book that I read. It might be the last. I did enjoy this book, but I definitely only picked it up because of the cover. Do you guys see this? It is stunning. I saw this and I instantly knew I was gonna get it no matter what it was, and I was very happy that I actually found the premise quite interesting. So it is about a man who is returning to his hometown where a murder took place very, very long ago, and he's trying to rationalize why nobody stopped this death despite many people knowing it would happen. The writing was mostly okay, nothing really stuck out to me. Some of the ideas or sections were definitely more interesting than others. In general though, I felt like this had a lot of potential. I think, like I said, the premise has a lot of potential. There's a lot you could do with it, and I felt like that wasn't really met. I guess that could be a symbolic strategy, but I didn't feel like I finished it very satisfied or like I was running to get more of his books from the bookstore. There were also some very big plot holes, and that just added to the feel of it just being a first draft of what could have been a really, really nice and impactful book. I don't think I regret reading it, but I also don't think I would particularly recommend it. The next prompt is for Uranus, and it is a book that gives you winter/cozy vibes, and I chose City of Mist by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is a series of short stories set in Barcelona, and I absolutely love this. They don't all have wintry vibes, but a lot of them do, and the ones that do are really, really magical in that wintry sense. There was another book I was gonna choose for this. I can't remember it. It was like the night something, and it's a book I read a very, very long time ago. It's not on my bookshelves anymore. I didn't like it too much, but the vibes in that one were incredibly wintry and cozy. 100% pick this over that book anyway, because Carlos Ruiz Zafón's writing is just so magical. The way he weaves magic into the real worlds of his novels and his stories, are so perfect. I of course really want to read The Shadow of the Wind, but I keep only finding the second or third books. I would definitely recommend this collection, and if you can find The Shadow of the Wind, even if I haven't read it, I would recommend it because his writing is just so special. I realized as I was trying to pick out a book for this prompt that I don't actually have a lot of wintry books, even though I love those kinds of books. So if you have any book recommendations in wintry settings, please comment them down below. The next and second to last prompt is for Neptune, and I need to pick a beloved book that is part of the series, and I chose The Hostile Hospital, which is the 8th book in Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events by Daniel Handler. A Series of Unfortunate Events is my all-time favorite book series, and I haven't spoken about it in my channel in a very long time. When I say a long time, it's probably like 4 or 5 videos. But if you don't know, A Series of Unfortunate Events is about 3 orphans who go to the beach one day and then find out that their entire home, along with their parents, burned down in a house fire. They are sent to live with a man named Count Olaf, who has it out for them and just wants their fortune. And as the books go on, he chases them from guardian to guardian. As the novels go on though, they realize that it is much deeper than just the money, and perhaps their parents weren't who they thought they were. There is so much in the series, and the 8th book is one of, if not my favorite. I don't know if I'm going to tell you guys what actually happens in this novel because I feel like that kind of spoils it, but the children are in a hospital, and of course Count Olaf is chasing them there. This is the first book that kind of veers off the regular course of the novel, and I love it for that reason. The siblings, Count Olaf, the orphans, the children are relying on one another, and it's so sweet. There are also a lot of literary references. There's like a list of patient names at some point, and they are all literary references. I'm really excited to get to this book in my A Series of Unfortunate Events annotating because, like I said, there's just so much. It is so cozy. I actually ordered a print from Brett Hellquist's Etsy, Brett Hellquist being the illustrator of these novels, of the last illustration in The Hostile Hospital. It ends in a really, I'm trying to not spoil it, but I love it. This is definitely one of my favorites in the series. Like I said, I'm saving a reread, and I'm so excited to get to this, and I'm excited to watch the episodes because Neil Patrick Harris, who is Count Olaf, does an incredible job in these episodes specifically. I also years ago had a dream which was set in the hostile hospital and ended in the way it ended, and I think that's part of why I just feel so strongly towards this book, because I just remember that dream and just how cozy it felt, even though the book is of course not cozy in that it is very sad. It is 13 books, but so easy to get through. The Netflix show is amazing as well and definitely worth a watch. You kind of feel so much for all the characters and the relationships and the storylines. You can take that at face value, but if you do want to analyze, there is so much to analyze in this series. The final prompt is for Pluto to choose a vastly underrated book you think deserves more hype. I'm always gonna choose this book for a book that is very underrated, and it is a perfect way to end the solar tag video because just look at the cover of this, it's stunning. The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Kiko Higashino is about 3 delinquent criminals who take cover in an abandoned general store, and then they start getting letters and they realize it is letters from people in the future or past asking for advice, and they start responding. It is a very unique premise and I loved how it was done. Again, we see a lot of different perspectives and of course different letters. The idea of criminals giving advice is a strange one, but you see how they're changed by the end of this, and the plots all kind of connect together in some way by the end, and I liked how it didn't shy away from darker storylines. I feel like what I struggle with a lot of these Japanese collections of stories or short stories like Before the Coffee Gets Cold, as much as I like them, I feel like they're very mild and simple and kind of feel the same. This one definitely had a lot of those, but there were some really serious and deep ones involved, and I really liked it for that reason. Very underrated. I would definitely recommend to everyone. There's some comedy as well. I haven't read it in a long time. I might need to reread it actually because I kind of forget what happens at the end, but there are some stories that definitely stick out in my mind, and I like the incorporation of time travel. I didn't actually know that there would be time travel for some reason, even though there's a clock here and it actually probably says it on the back. That is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, go watch that now. I think this was such a fun idea. If you guys have any other recommendation video ideas, then also let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Kind of strategy. If you don't know, The Hunger Games is a dystopia about a girl who is living in a district 12. This is a bad way to introduce The Hunger Games.